Chapter 1. Are you aware that actually no one ever tells the moment they really start to see people as they are? This situation finds you slowly, you don't even realize what it is. For example, it can start with a friend who always creates drama in every situation, or a coworker who is incredibly cheerful to your face but whose gossip you constantly hear behind your back. At first, you can't understand, these are small things. Because you want to see the best in people, you ignore the red flags, even try to understand those people in some way. But as time passes, that mold bursts right before your eyes. Masks come off one by one, fake performances are revealed, manipulations come to light as clear as day. Once you understand these truths, your eyes open and it is no longer possible to return to that comfortable ignorance. And at that exact moment, you understand exactly why you prefer to be alone. This does not happen suddenly, it is not a dramatic realization that happens abruptly one night. It is more like coming out of a dark movie theater and your eyes gradually getting used to the light. At first, everything seems so bright and harsh that it dazzles your eyes. But then that clarity deeply affects you and you can never return to your comfortable dark world. Most people tell you this story, right? Get to know people better, they say, build deeper connections. These are nonsense. Because when you really start to pay attention to people, what happens is the opposite. You don't get closer, you move away from them. The worst part is, when you keep your distance from the people around you, they act as if there is a problem, as if there is something wrong with you, as if you are antisocial. But here is what you need to know, the more you understand people, the more you understand that loneliness is actually not loneliness, but freedom. Think like this, you meet a new person. The first few conversations are like gold, they seem attractive, funny, sincere to you. Finally, a real one, you say in your mind. It doesn't matter if it is at work, through a mutual friend, or on a dating platform, it always follows the same pattern. But then things change. You start to see that person's flaws. You notice how they act completely differently in front of someone else. Different in front of their bosses, different in front of their managers, very different in front of their family, another one in front of their friends. It's like you are watching a master of disguise. Sometimes those behaviors are so perfect that they bother you. You see how their closest friends gossip about them immediately after they leave the room. These are not ordinary complaints, this is a deliberate, planned character assassination. You notice how they try to get compliments by diminishing their own selves, then when you don't support this, they get angry. I'm very ugly today, they say, expecting you to say the opposite. When you don't support this approval-seeking theater and stay silent or change the topic, you see how that insecurity quickly turns into resentment. There are subtle manipulations disguised as helpfulness. You really should try this, the phrase becomes a technique to assert superiority. Let me help you, they say, but this is a method to load you with debt. Every favor done actually carries a hidden agenda. Carl Jung was not joking when he talked about the masks people wear today. But there is one thing Jung didn't mention. Once you notice the mask, you can never ignore it again. And when you realize everyone is wearing a mask, the game is over. You start watching these people's small social theaters and it tires you. Everyone puts on different characters to get what they want: attention, approval, control, security. The popular girl is actually desperately insecure. The tough guy is afraid to seem weak. The helpful person tries to buy loyalty. Those in the victim role actually try to control those around them. And the most frightening part is, most are not even aware of it. They have been acting for so long that they have forgotten who they are under the mask. But you don't forget. That knowledge is like poison. Do you remember how normal and real the casual chats used to be? The question, "How's the weather?" really was a conversation. There were times when you thought someone cared when they asked about your holiday day. But not anymore. Now when someone asks you, "How are you?" the ready-made script plays in your brain. They don't listen to your answer, they just wait until it's their turn to speak. They don't care about your response, they want a performance. Everyone says, "I'm fine, thank you. How are you?" and continues as if they have connected. You start counting these kinds of conversations as you get older. Elevator chats are exactly 30-second weather talks. Sweet conversations at market shelves last as long as picking products. Short chats while drinking coffee at the office. All scripted, all performances, all empty. But what happens when your emotional pattern recognition develops? You notice the insecurity behind someone's boasting, that wonderful holiday conversations are actually another way of saying, "I'm living my life so well," the fear behind aggression, the emptiness behind constant approval seeking. And in every communication, you feel the echo of that emptiness. Chapter 2. After a while, suddenly, this thought of loneliness strangely feels good to you, because you realize that this loneliness is not an escape, on the contrary, it is a liberation. As you see people's norms, masks, and theatrics, staying with your own mind feels more peaceful than blending in with them. Being alone means being alone with your own truths. You no longer need fake smiles or false sincerity on the surface. You understand what it means to be yourself, to be silent, to feel comfortable in your own world, and you embrace that moment. Because actually loneliness means being able to set your own rules, to value yourself. You no longer have to prove yourself to anyone. You can live in your own world, by your own standards. This may be perceived strangely by those around you, but you know that the deepest connection is the one you establish with your own inner mind. Instead of getting involved in the chaos of society, finding your own tranquility is more important. And during this period, you remove some people from your life, you stop trying to get to know some others more closely. Because now what matters to you is the value of quality and sincerity. You begin to care not about quantity, but about value. Sometimes people ask you, "Why are you so distant, why are you so withdrawn?" But those people don't understand, this is your choice. This coldness is your shield of self-protection. This is a path you choose not to fall into the games of other people. So don't allow them to judge you. Setting your own rules and protecting your own values requires courage, and reaching that courage is freedom. While people think you are cold or antisocial, you are actually at peace with yourself. That alone is a great achievement. After all, understanding people, noticing their masks can completely change your mind. But this change is not a bad thing, on the contrary, it opens the way for you to live a more right, more free life. And remember, true connections are not those made in quantity, but those made in the heart. So take good care of yourself, love your loneliness, and continue your life with this new perspective. Because true freedom is being able to be yourself. Chapter 3. You know, the deeper you go into the people around you, the more complicated it gets. At first meeting, everything looks nice, somewhat superficial, somewhat exciting, but over time the real details emerge. These details can sometimes be annoying, sometimes thought-provoking. The more masks people wear in their social life, the more they appear in different roles. Some put so much effort into hiding their true feelings that even you cannot distinguish which one is real. You know that moment when you feel very sincere with one person, but completely take on a different character next to someone else. This is a very strange thing. It's like being on a theater stage, everyone continues to play their role. But these roles often drain your energy and tire you. Because instead of truthfulness, you are watching a fake performance, and this fakery tires you inside and makes you lonely. Understanding how people will behave when they are with you, solving their true character takes time. At first, people generally appear nice and kind. However, as time passes, small details become noticeable, maybe an inconsistency or a behavior as if they are mocking you. These make you think. At that moment, you realize how careful you need to be. Because some people may not only think about your well-being, sometimes they may use you for their own interests. Understanding this situation is a bit upsetting, because seeing real people can sometimes open the door to loneliness. Noticing people's fake behaviors can make you somewhat cold. But this is not a bad thing, actually it is part of growth. It is difficult to build real relationships without understanding the truth. Also, you may see that some people constantly seek approval to hide their own insecurities. Questions like, "Do you like me? Am I telling the truth? Did I do wrong?" are always present in their conversations. This constant need for approval makes relationships problematic. Because such people need others' approval to feel good, this drains your energy. Therefore, sometimes the best is to keep some distance. Because setting boundaries is necessary for healthy relationships. Although being alone during this process may seem frightening, it is actually liberating. Because you do not have to prove yourself to anyone. You can live with your own reality, without masks. In conclusion, human relationships can sometimes feel like a challenging game. Everyone takes on a role for their own benefit, going back and forth between reality and fakery. But now you are aware of this game, you have lifted the masks, and you are looking for more genuine, more sincere relationships on your own behalf. This path may be difficult, but at least you are not lost in a fake life. Remember, true friendships and connections emerge after these fragments. What matters is to stay true to yourself and not to be afraid of dropping those exhausting masks.